thought it was a great session actually. It was very interesting. We, I guess, have offices in so many jurisdictions which are relevant to Indians, whether they're resident in India or NRIs. And it's something, the subject matter is just exactly the sort of same issues we deal with our clients. I think the main takeaways from the message from all of the panelists, which was pretty similar, was there's a much more focus now on well-regulated jurisdictions. The clients are much more sophisticated now and knowledgeable, and they focus on ensuring there's the right level of regulation within these jurisdictions, the right skills and expertise within the jurisdiction, and they want to see the proper corporate governance for the structures they run from these jurisdictions. And it's much more about those factors now than purely just getting it cheap or confidentiality. So in the past, where secrecy and confidentiality was perhaps a driver, now with the common reporting standards and the G20 transparency agenda, you know, those sort of factors really don't come into it anymore. So I think it depends very much where the global Indian family members reside, and it also depends very much where the assets that are going to be held reside. So whilst they're Indian, doesn't necessarily sort of say, well, if they're Indian, they must go to Jersey or Mauritius. It very much depends on where they're residing. It's often driven by tax considerations, so looking at tax treaty benefits, depending on how they want to structure the holding of the assets. What we found with looking at the historic migration pattern of Indians is the significant build-up of NRI communities in East Africa, UK, GCC and the US. And from those client patterns, offshore jurisdictions or finance centres have built up areas of expertise to service those regions, whether they put in place attractive tax treaties. So Mauritius has historically been very favourable for India. It is now very favourable also for East Africa, where there's a large NRI community. Jersey, very much preferred jurisdiction for holding UK assets, or if the UK resident non-dom family members residing in London, typically. And Jersey also specialises very much in trust. So if they're looking at settling assets into trust for estate planning purposes, succession planning, Jersey specialises there. And I think that was another key takeaway from the session, was that these offshore jurisdictions really are going to have to find their niche and specialise. And with the world becoming more complicated, whether it's regulatory complications, tax complicated, they need to find their niche and specialise. And this is what a lot of the jurisdictions are doing. So far, this is my first time attending an India Inc. event. I did some due diligence around it beforehand, and all of my friends who had previously been before said last year's event was excellent, and this was one event I must attend. So far it's living up to expectations. The speakers are great, and the topics are right on point for something which, you know, a lot of my clients are considering as well.